Building a new home in an established and leafy suburb surely comes with strings attached. A need to blend in, maybe even a pressure to add to the area in a harmonious and neighbourly way. But what if you've got something to say and you want to both blend in and stand out at the same time? Is that even possible? Or does that kind of thinking just end up creating a mountainous mishmash, which is the talk of the town?
Let's do it.
Can you grab the kayak and just stick it on the grass over there?
Get the paddleboards there.
For Stuart and Natalie Fade, it doesn't get much better than Queensland's Sunshine Coast as a place to settle down and raise their kids, Matilda and Delilah. It's the final stop in what's been a decade-long adventure in which they met, fell in love, and travelled the world.
We both lived in Shanghai in China, and we just kept seeing each other at the local coffee shop, the gym, down the street. We just kept bumping into each other. And then it went from there, didn't it? You're very blessed.
I am very blessed.
We're a team.
After getting together in 2013, the next 4 years were spent working in China and the United Arab Emirates. Stuart in the automotive industry and Natalie as a building designer. But the Sunshine State beckoned.
Having lived overseas in very different climates, I think we yearned for some warmth and some sunlight.
So we did a lot of research for the sunny coast, and we stumbled upon Budrum. And it's this beautiful community village that's quite big, but up on a hill.
During a weekend of house hunting, they found a 3-bedroom, 1980s-built, single-storey fixer-upper sitting on top of a very steep hill. What seemed like the perfect spot for Natalie to design and build their new family home.
The potential was just obvious from the first second. So before we left, we'd bought the house. We were done.
We don't muck about.
No, no.
For $885,000, the house was theirs.
All those houses where...
But it came with a few strings attached.
When we bought it, there was just the one house on the corner.
We'd never been anywhere that long before, what, 30+ years?
Yeah.
I said, well, when we leave, we'd like to have nice people coming in here.
Yeah.
And it's a worry, you know, when you just, anyone could come.
Previous owners, Brian and Karis, loved the house and the 3 decades of family memories they'd created there. They'd sell the house, but on the proviso, its character was preserved, and any changes were in keeping with this quaint court of homes.
We really did worry about who would buy it. Would it be a developer? And that, because we loved all our neighbours, we thought, my worst nightmare was everything would just be demolished there and filled with flats or whatever it was, rather than blending in.
Units and cars going backwards and forwards, and yeah, just a bad scene for the neighbours. Didn't want that at all. We wanted to make sure, as far as we could, that whoever took over from us would fit into the court.
We haven't seen any plans at all, but we do trust them. We like them immensely, so we trust them. Yeah.
We went back to do the contracts and have some discussions with Brian and Karis. We made this promise to do right by the property.
Yeah, we didn't want to just knock it down and go again. So we're trying to build something that pays homage to the previous owners and the existing house that's there, and injecting it with, you know, our travels and our experiences. Yeah.
But with a couple of twists.
And that's where things get interesting. Because trying to fuse elements of a 1980s bungalow with eclectic plans that honour a decade of globetrotting sounds like an unusual mix indeed.
I'm well. How are you doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful throwback here, don't you?
What is the vision for this place? What's the dream?
Come forward 8 metres from the existing.
Yeah.
Large deck, big pool,
Yep.
shipping container pool that's going to hang off it.
Why a shipping container? I mean, it's quite unusual. It's a huge statement to make.
Yeah, because of the slope of the hill and
Yep.
the engineering involved.
Yep.
So if we were going to be doing a pool, we want it on the same level as the house. The house is all the way at the top and the pool needs to be at that level.
What's it going to have on the side of the shipping container?
China shipping.
China shipping? Or
Yeah.
the graphic?
Yep.
So where's this coming from? I mean, OK, first thing is, it's a huge feature. It's a huge statement to me.
Yeah, and it is.
So why did you go there?
China Shipping is the company that have moved us on all of our international moves. So it makes sense then to kind of pay a bit of homage to China Shipping for that.
But you're putting it all out on show. And actually, it's going to be a big part of the expression of the transformation here. Now, how do your neighbours feel about that?
I think it's going to be out on display, but also there's going to be quite a tropical garden that's going to be thrown in around all the engineering. So it's not going to be just out on its own.
Right. It's going to look a lot worse before it looks a lot better.
No pressure.
No pressure. So let's attack this hill. Shall we go?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
This sounds like an off-the-wall fusion of heavy industry and 80s bungalow. Starting with the old house, the roof comes off, but the concrete floor and some exterior walls stay. Hundreds of bricks will also be salvaged for reuse. A contemporary extension will lunge away from the hill's summit, which requires some structural gymnastics. 35 piers up to 4 metres deep will be drilled into the hillside. These form the foundations for $100,000 worth of steel that will hold up Stuart and Natalie's big, bold add-ons. These include a lift, a steel staircase, and the controversial cherry on top, the shipping container pool. At the rear of the block, the retained walls and salvaged bricks will make up the children's bedrooms, shared bathroom, office and rumpus. A brass trim across the width of the house will memorialise where the original property ends and the new extension starts. This includes the main bedroom with ensuite, kitchen and living dining area. The neutral interior will be accented with colourful treasures from Stuart and Natalie's time overseas. Queensland living demands a poolside entertaining area, but this has a vertigo-inducing twist. A void which drops away to a slope-hugging tropical oasis. It's eclectic for sure, and keeping their promise to honour the old while creating a modern, quirky home on a hill is going to be a precarious balancing act for Natalie and Stuart.
You're demolishing almost everything except the side walls and the back wall. Why not just demolish the whole lot?
It would be easier and cheaper, for sure. Well, we made a promise to the previous owners that what we wouldn't do is come in and flatten and demolish the whole place, that what we did would be an evolution of their home.
But now, as the designer, that's putting enormous pressure, I imagine, on you to maintain the vibe of this somehow while building your new home.
Yeah. And I think that's been the challenge. And I'm not afraid of a challenge with design.
Yeah.
And I think we've both loved this space to keep what's there. So, yeah, it's not easy. It's a whole lot easier, as the engineer and the builders and everyone has said, why don't you just knock it down? But then that takes the soul of the space away. And that's not what it's about, it's build.
How long do you think it's going to take you then?
I would say 9 months.
OK. And how much with all of the complexities, is this new build going to cost?
So the budget's 1.5 million.
You've done all the drawings, of course. You know all the intricacies.
Yeah.
How confident are you about 1.5?
Pretty confident. It's got to come in at 1.5. Otherwise you're in trouble.
It can't come in at 1.6.
OK.
If all goes to plan, we should be on the money.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
My nagging doubt is that Stuart and Natalie may have made a promise here that they will struggle to keep. Sure, it's noble to tell the old owners, we will not knock down your house, we will keep its soul alive. But how is sticking a giant logo-clad container out the front of the house for all to see and to judge respectful of what was here before? I love their best intentions, but I reckon they're going to get shipped out pretty quickly once things really start rolling.
Spring has sprung on Queensland's Sunshine Coast. And it's all hands on deck in Buderim. As the old house is picked and pulled apart.
It's a little bit nerve-wracking because it's like the house. I've designed it, I've drafted it, I've done everything. So if there's any mistakes, there's no one behind to look at, so it's me.
As project manager, Natalie is the ranking officer on site. And she's ordered a two-pronged attack.
Yeah.
Demolition and salvage.
Anything this side of the line is being removed, anything this side stays.
Leo, the builder, is under strict orders to keep a handful of walls, as Stuart and Natalie aim to keep their promise to the previous owners not to demolish the house completely.
I keep coming back and going, right, what can I say, what can I say, what can I say? There's some tiles down here that I'm eyeing off. Yeah, then I'll have moments of palpitations going, oh, how can we put that all back in? Boom.
But one couple's pledge is another man's headache.
Keeping the existing walls does make it a bit trickier. I've got to cut exactly in the right position so we can join up to it. Would have been easy without the walls. Could have just knocked them down and built new. We'll be reusing these bricks. We're going to need about 1,500 bricks altogether. So I've chipped off 4, 8, 12, 13. There's about 1,400, 890 to go. So if I take 30 seconds a brick, how long does that, what does that add up to?
1,488 times 30 seconds a brick, 44,640 seconds. Divided by 60, 744 minutes.
Okay. If I can cut 5 seconds off a brick,
Yeah, exactly, there you go.
I'll be home, in the car going home soon.
Just keep up, stop talking, that's all.
Natalie's talking ban doesn't quite speed things up. Instead of taking an estimated 7 days, Operation Demolition and Salvage is still going after 3 weeks.
Because this is on a hill, it's, you know, that bit more complex. Long, long days where it's super exhausting.
The trickiest thing is managing just the slope and the logistics and getting things up and down. We've got the 60-tonne slew crane here, lifting down all the rubbish that the boys have been preparing up the top, because there's no way we've got any other machines driving up that slope.
Not only is working on a steep hill a builder's worst nightmare, the extra logistical and engineering obstacles have added a 6-figure premium to Stuart and Nat's costs.
The difference between a flat block and the elevated block is we're looking probably about 400,000 more. It's not an unlimited budget, and Stu's the numbers man who's forever losing sleep on that kind of stuff. You know, it's challenging. I wouldn't do it if there wasn't a view, put it that way.
By day's end, the crane has done its job clearing the rubbish. And what's left up top, or rather what isn't, is cause for serious concern.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's like nothing.
We've smashed it, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. But so much.
Did you realise it was going to be that much?
No. No. Have we lost too much? Has too much gone?
Everyone that came up today was saying, oh, you haven't kept many walls, but there's the bricks that are going back in, above and around.
Okay.
So they're the ones that have all been saved. That'll be all Delilah's room, all Matilda's room, and the guest bedroom / your office.
Okay.
So once it's back, it won't be like, oh my God, you didn't have much left.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like if you walked up, you'd be like, why'd they bother keeping those? It's
No, but-
like there's no point in keeping that,
there
but
was
there is.
There's every point in keeping
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's the story.
Yeah.
It's a
The
shame.
fusion of
Yeah.
old and new. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is no turning back now, check.
Yes.
As designer and project manager, the pressure is all on Natalie to keep that well-meaning promise they made.
But, like walking up a steep hill, this is all starting to feel a bit hard.
It's not impossible, though. A fresh, respectful twist on an old house can certainly be done. Like here in Sydney's Mossman.
This is Fraser House, and it is extraordinary. Originally completed in 1958 by architect Geoffrey Twibble, using local stone and brick, as well as Sydney blue gum and mahogany timbers. If you want an example of working with the spirit of a house, this is it. Oh, my word.
The home was revered in its heyday for encapsulating the very best of Australian mid-century modern architecture. Over 60 years later, the original owner's daughter has given it a sympathetic facelift while increasing its size.
When you're working with such strong mid-century modern bones, you don't want to break what's already working so well. But when you want to modernise, when you need to modernise and get just that little bit of extra space, the way they've done it here is they've been so respectful about materials, about details. You wouldn't know it, but here, we're standing in 1958, and here, 2020s. It's absolutely seamless.
Have you ever played Spot the Difference? I dare you to do it here. The restoration of mid-century features matches perfectly. Every design decision, every new element has come from a place of admiration for the original. For example, the original inner courtyard, which could have easily been boxed in, has been kept, but given a technological boost with automated weather-sensing louvers. So keeping the spirit of the house alive, but turbocharging its functionality. They're taking a similar approach in Butterham.
But good intentions will only get you so far. It's all in the execution. And I can't help but think Natalie and Stuart might have backed themselves into a corner with their commitment to keep the soul of the house and made some missteps with their pick and mix design strategy. I mean, imagine this place with a whopping great big shipping container parked out the front.
Back on the Sunshine Coast, Natalie isn't thinking about the old today.
Yeah, no, that's why I've got that part over there.
It's all about the new and making certain her new extension and additions sit on solid foundations. For $50,000, she's getting 35 piers drilled into the hillside.
The piers have to be pretty big and pretty strong. They hold the pool up and the deck and the house and stop it all from flying away and stop it from falling over. Let's hope we don't hit something. We've hit rock.
Rocks everywhere, every hole. 3 up there, 2 here, 1 there, 2 there.
Removing an underground rockery to make way for the piers could waste days on a build that's already weeks behind schedule.
Oh,
There you go, there's another one. Woohoo!
There may be a sliver of silver lining to all this rock, though.
If it's big enough, we can fuse to it.
Rocks over 2 metres wide could possibly be used as part of the piers to help bear the weight of the house. But that means changing structural plans and getting them signed off. This will cost money and, more worryingly for Natalie's tight 9-month schedule, time.
We have to speak to the engineer, obviously. It would delay things. I see buildings that are getting built just on a flat site. That's an easy site. This isn't an easy site. It was all good when we came here and we were like, oh, wow, look at the view. Yeah, we can do anything. But it's actually headaches and sleepless nights.
As feared, hitting a hillside of boulders is a death blow to Natalie's plans. She's fused some of the piers to the biggest rocks, but it's taken 4 months to sign everything off and start getting the steel skeleton of a house up.
Because the steel had to be measured off the piers, we couldn't order the steel until the piers were 100% in. So that was a massive sort of delay. We were initially meant to be in for 3 months' time. The builder's saying 12 months. We'd like to pull it forward. It would be great to be in before Christmas rather than March, which we've been told. There's the cost of the build, rental, and the interest rates going up and up. You're a little bit frustrated, to be honest. Yeah. We were hoping to be a little bit further ahead, but it's a little quiet today. There's only one man on site and the builder's away on holiday, so it's quiet. So let's hope when he gets back there's going to be a bit of a move on.
It's slow moving up top in Buderim. But down the hill at nearby Coolum Beach, there is some much-needed hustle. The shipping container that will transform into a 12-metre-long black onyx pool is being re-engineered to within an inch of its life.
It's not just about cutting a container in half and putting water in it. It's actually a proper swimming pool. We get A-grade containers, which are once-used containers from China. Cut them in half, use both halves, top and bottom. The bottom half gets allocated to steel structural frames. We then reinforce that with a steel ring beam around the perimeter to make the pool structurally stable so they can actually be elevated off the ground and the pool will still be there when they wake up in the morning.
Turning a shipping container into a pool takes 5 days and is putting a $70,000 dent in Stuart and Natalie's $1.5 million budget.
It's a super exciting day. This is actually when your container becomes a swimming pool.
It's no surprise Natalie is completing a final inspection of her investment and seeking reassurance it'll survive being craned to the top of a hill.
We've got the whole steel skeleton that's inside of it to make sure that it stays true and straight.
Yeah, strong enough not to collapse on itself with
That's
all
right.
the water in the pool, right?
That's right. Go ahead, Riley. No pressure, Riley.
Yeah, no pressure, mate. Here we go.
A fiberglass shell is the final step in the container's transformation.
Look at that shell going in.
And that is where we're going to swim. That's our pool, chick.
Now it is officially a swimming pool.
Yeah. What do you think?
There's no water in it. Where's the water?
It'll be coming soon.
When the pool is filled, it will weigh 30 tonnes.
Yeah, that can't... Oh.
And a load this colossal demands muscular infrastructure. So Natalie's container pool will be supported by this very strong and very expensive cradle-like framework of her own design. It's her $100,000 baby.
Oh gosh, there's a whole lot of engineering in this steel. Everything is engineered down to its fine tolerances.
Is the engineering complex? Is it heavy duty? Yes. Do you want a 30-ton swimming pool when it's full? Suspended on something that's not over-engineered? No, probably not.
It is like putting together a giant Mikado set. Not only do you have to put all the bits together, but it's putting the bits together at the right time as well so that they fit. It's really complex. Hopefully it'll be done right.
Because we're on top of a mountain in a coastal area, the wind will increase quite considerably. It will make things harder.
This is the most nerve-wracking part of the build, the high stuff getting done. It's all kind of just hanging out there at the moment.
With the steel at the mercy of unpredictable gusts, there's understandable concern for neighbouring houses.
I'm glad they're not here to watch it dangling around. It gets a bit close when they're swinging it around up there.
Some big beams that are going up and the wind's really picking up. So we're a bit worried.
But wind is no match for a deftly controlled crane, a well-drilled team, and a project manager with a Christmas deadline to hit.
That'll be cool.
And up we are. Looking at that, it feels like we've made a full step, a big full step of progress today. And we're edging closer, I think. Now we're up, we're elevated. Now we push on. Hard target, Christmas.
Yeah.
I want to be stood looking at that.
We're reading Monkey Puzzle tonight.
Oh, I love that one.
Natalie and Stuart's desperation to finish the house by Christmas instead of later in the new year, as predicted by their builder, is caused by an avalanche of interest rate rises, which have put a huge strain on their $1.5 million budget.
Yeah, and she's very near.
You know, they've increased almost month on month while we've been going through the build. Before the bank could tell us the impact of the first one, they were sending us the impact of the second one. So, I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to keep up. We've got it all going on. We've got the mortgage, we've got the construction loan, and we've got rent. I can't stress how quickly we need to get this job wrapped up. Nat needs to crack the whip and get the boys going, and you know, everybody needs to be working to the same end. We need to move in.
But worryingly, it seems Stuart isn't on the same page as his builder Leo, who is sticking to his original finish date.
We're looking at March next year. I'm not going to commit to a day or a date. We're just going to keep it moving and see if we can reduce that time by as much as we can. The slope on this site adds in a lot of complexity. Everything takes time, but we break it down in little stages. We reach one stage and then we move to the next stage. It's the only way we can do it. It is a game of patience and persistence.
But Stuart's patience is at an all-time low.
Biggest frustration is it doesn't feel like a particularly busy site. It literally goes weeks and weeks with what appears to be nothing. You know, Nat tells me there's a lot of thinking, a lot of setting out, and a lot of planning, and I get all of that. And I guess that's getting us out of the ground and getting it all ready. But yeah, it's just, I'm old-fashioned. I work on the theory, many hands make light work, and we barely have a pair of hands on here. So that must make for very heavy work.
There is another saying, quality over quantity. And the next day, with Stuart away with work, Natalie dials up the positivity and phones in good news.
We have some internal walls. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll actually start seeing things come together, and he'll be a bit more excited to see that it's moving on and moving forward.
But that 1980s house they promised not to demolish, well, from the bottom of the hill, you wouldn't know it existed. which hasn't gone unnoticed by the neighbours.
I think the original homeowners wouldn't recognise the place. It's a completely new rebuild.
They started and ended up practically pulling the whole place down, which was wow.
But Nat is sticking to her guns and the design she spent over 1.5 years devising.
You know, you've got to crack some eggs to make an omelette, right? So it's great that we've been able to keep the brick walls and then the existing slab, and also hopefully I'm going to be able to keep the driveway brick, because it's a really pretty pattern and beautiful brick to then repurpose and use somewhere, hopefully in the entrance. We'll be able to build it back up and make it all whole again.
That feels like wishful thinking to me, because whatever Natalie puts back is sure to be overshadowed by this. That pool with that logo. But there's method to this madness, apparently.
Nat and I have had a pretty nomadic journey in our lifetime together so far that we've shared. We've moved internationally a number of times, and with every one of those moves, you pack up and then you unpack. And strangely enough, China Shipping have been the recurring partner in that process. So it is deeply personal, yeah. And as I'm saying it out loud, I feel barking mad.
This is a pretty big statement, having the signage on the front and not hidden away.
It's there from the street, it's there from the driveway, it's unavoidable, right? And it's unapologetic.
I kind of don't mind this and then just layering it on top of it, but this is kind of like tape.
Bringing Natalie and Stuart's symbolic but bonkers idea to life is Sunshine Coast artist Sarah Scully.
So what I might do is use the brush and then come over the top with some of the tape.
And she's perplexed by this unusual commission.
When Stu first contacted me, I was like, are you sure this is okay? But he assured me it's okay. So it'll be interesting. They want like a worn look, so I'm trying to figure out how to make nice, fresh spray paint look 20 years old. If you squint, it doesn't look bad. So I just bought the rust effect, and now I'm trying to make it look like rust, but really it just looks like poo.
That's sure to go down well with the locals. Who, a few weeks later, are out for a sticky beak. As two pieces of industrial-sized infrastructure are craned in. The lift.
Angie.
And the pool.
What about your neighbours, though? Because the neighbours walk past and they go, I didn't realise there was going to be this giant graphic sitting there staring at the street. I mean, you are redefining curb appeal here.
Yes. I've had a neighbour out this morning. He still looks puzzled. Yeah, I don't think there's a neighbour in the court that isn't affected in one way. You know, they've got a whole different structure and kind of architectural feel to the court. It's completely different to every other property here.
I'm thinking 10 years from now, you're going to be arriving home and seeing that sign and going, I've been living with that sign for 10 years.
Yeah. I'm not going to try and sell the virtues of the sign writing on the shipping container. Sure. It's deeply personal to me. And I don't expect anyone else to get it. It's literally an indulgence. It was a completely personal nod to ourselves. So I do want to pull in on the driveway and be reminded. Because, I mean, it was the start of our journey.
The graphic itself looks a bit blurry. It looks a little bit out of focus. It looks a little bit rough. Is that what you intended?
It needed to look like it's been on the seas for 20 years.
From here, which is what the aesthetic is all about, I think it executes really well, you know.
Or I can see a bit of graffiti up there on the side of the container that maybe wasn't supposed to be there in the first place.
Yeah, OK.
Too harsh?
Yeah.
I don't think it is. While I'm all for making your home your own with personal touches, This will have a big impact on the street, whether they like it or not. And with the shipping container in its final resting place, any remnants of what was there before is eclipsed once and for all.
With the original house in mind,
Yeah.
do you feel like you're still keeping the soul of that place alive?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's difficult to tell with all this chaos of windows here and flooring and, you know, everyone on site at the moment. But, yeah, you know, the slabs here and we've got the beautiful brickwork.
You know, it's like you've had to remove something temporarily whilst you were fixing it.
Yeah.
And then you've been able to bring it back home. It
Yeah.
feels like, so there'll be a bit of
Yeah.
that reinstatement.
Yeah.
Thing. I hope.
Where actually are you then on the budget? Because I think you started from 1.5.
Yeah.
How's that sitting?
Yeah, I probably undercooked that a shade. And there is a reason why. The pool and the lift ultimately ended up costing that little bit more.
Yeah.
I guess if we're looking at a magic number, and I'll try and pull one out of my head, we'll be looking at 1.6-ish.
100,000 more than the original? Is
Yeah,
that...
and also every month that goes by when we're not here, there's always something happening to spend more money on.
Sure.
But it feels like it's impossible to budget because with everything else costing more and interest rates going up, and
Yep.
so it's building to a crescendo now for me where it starts to become
Yeah.
quite time sensitive.
Gotcha. And okay, what's the worst case scenario if you don't meet the Christmas deadline?
Beans on toast.
What happens then?
Yeah, beans
Is
on
it-
toast.
is that what it is? Eggs on
beans
toast?
Beans on toast.
Beans
yeah.
on toast.
Yeah, probably not even eggs. Beans.
Hey, Google, timer 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes to have your breakfast. Right, ladies, come on, we're not doing karate. We're doing breakfast.
Stuart and Natalie were meant to be moved in by now, but they're still at their rental around the corner from the build.
We've got to get going soon, right? So sit down and eat. I'll sit down up here with you, not on the sofa. Just being constantly on the go, juggling everything. And if it's not physically, it's mentally. You're waking up at 2 in the morning and thinking, oh my God, I forgot, blah, blah, blah. How are your socks and shoes going?
I can't find socks.
It's all right, I'll put the stuff in the dishwasher. You're all good. It's hard, Yakka, when you're the client, a mum, the designer, the drafter, the landscaper, the interior designer. There's a whole there's a whole lot of weight on me.
This won't even fit my head.
Oh God!
It's now 3 months and counting until Stuart and Natalie want to move in.
Can I actually do anything?
And with the clock ticking loudly,
Clean all the dirt off the pavers.
Ah, that's not fun.
she and Carpenter Jr. are racing to rescue salvaged materials from the old house.
These bricks, so I wanted to repurpose them right from the get-go. They were just quite rustic and beautiful.
But beautiful doesn't mean easy to lay, especially when there are hundreds.
The thing is, you've got yellow and you've got orange ones, and the yellow and the orange ones are different sizes.
Natalie wants to clearly show what is old and what is new.
So far, so good.
This bronze strip marking where the original slab ends and the new extension begins.
It's nice seeing these small details go in. It's the whole reason behind the design, the joining of the old and the new. It's definitely worth it. It shows character in the house, doesn't it, Junior?
Yes.
Not worth it for him. It's just a pain in the ass.
Just putting some of the old timbered panelling from the original house as a bed head for the new main bedroom. I don't know if I would be reusing the timber.
I love this timber, so that's why I wanted to bring it back into the house. Again, paying homage to the existing home. That reminds me of the nice feeling of the house.
Will the previous owners get that same feeling? Especially when it features unconventional pieces from Stuart and Natalie's overseas adventures, like these doors.
Welcome. Look at that.
So which one's opening first again?
This one. Stu found them in a market in Dubai, so and brought them home as a gift. Random gift, but something that I'd love. In all our renos, we always put a little bit of something that we collected on our travels. Look at that. They're just beautiful, and they look amazing with the bricks, right?
You can't accuse Stuart and Natalie of creating a cookie-cutter house. But there's a lot going on here. Fragments of an 80s bungalow versus super-sized industrial features, married with eclectic finds from all over the world. It's a lot for Natalie to pull together, and the last thing she needs at this critical stage is self-doubt.
The design of this home was to keep it homely and keep the existing as much as possible. And we wanted to keep the soul in the house that we bought. And it was a lot more stripped than actually what we wanted to do. It doesn't have... if I critique it myself, I feel like I don't have the... je ne sais quoi. I don't know. It doesn't have the bit about it that it could have had. I would have liked more time to have designed it. But then designers always want more time, perhaps. So there's still that passion behind it, because architecture and design is a passion. And there certainly is a whole lot of love in this house.
Of course, every love story has ups and downs, and Stuart's relationship with the house is on the rocks.
I'm worried that I am falling out of love with this whole process. Yeah, it's just, yeah, really not fun. We're what feels like a good way away from finishing. We're still yet to get a final date. We're supposed to be getting that in the next week. For us, we kind of need to know. Challenge is renting a property and paying the construction loan costs. You're just mindful as each month goes by and you pay 2 bills. It's been full on.
But Leo the builder is still hedging his bets on a completion date.
We would love to be finished by Christmas, but we will not skip any steps. We want the job done right, and you know, we all want it to be finished. I want it to be finished. My clients want it to be finished, but we need to be patient.
I can feel my anxiety levels increasing now because everything's finally balanced, and getting the coordination of those trades and getting everybody in on time and out on time is critical to finishing. We remove roadblocks, we make things possible, we work together as a team to get it done. All eyes on the prize.
It's been 15 months now since Nat and Stu began this project in beachside Buderim. And along the way, I've had my doubts. How were they going to imprint their global travels on an 80s suburban bungalow without destroying its character? Especially with the odd giant-sized industrial add-on.
There's that shipping container. I always said it was going to be a strong statement, and it is. No one's going to miss that.
It seems Nat and Stu have finally landed.
Nat, Stu!
Hi!
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Wow!
Welcome.
It's done.
It's done.
Fantastic. That's here, and you're finished. How are you feeling?
Stoked. It's great.
Yeah.
Stoked. Brilliant.
Stoked.
And tell me, the big question is, did you make it in by Christmas? Not just because everyone wants to be in by Christmas, but you had some real financial pressures there.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yes. We did.
Just.
Yes.
Just by this much.
Right. I quite like, as you come around the corner there and you see the house from the driveway, you see the shipping container just poking its end out beyond the foliage here, the canopy that we're standing under right now.
Yeah.
And so it's not like this big kind of like frame, it's this little kind of reveal that happens.
It's settled into the block really well, I think.
Yeah.
And, you know, the poincianas, the foliage kind of softens everything up as we wanted it to. So.
Yeah, you knew this was your plan all along,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
It's all part of the master plan.
Yeah, you knew it was happening. The neighbours, what are they saying?
I hid from them for a while.
The funniest recurring thing, which kind of speaks to what we did actually, was the general kind of question around, well, when are you going to get it clad or painted or made to look nice? I think was the general theme. So I kind of came back to Nat and I was like, it looks real.
Yes.
Victory.
Victory, yeah. So big tick, yeah.
Can we walk through the gate?
Let's do
See
it.
the rest of the story?
Let's go.
Sure, their shipping container won't be to everyone's taste. It's unusual, to say the least, and understandably, it's got a few tongues wagging. But there's more to this project than meets the eye. Inside the ancient front gates from Dubai, a tropical oasis, where the old house bricks literally pave the way to the new. They've even found a home for the boulders that stop the build in its tracks.
We're nearly there.
Nearly there. Oh, yeah. Look at this. What you've done here is actually really fabulous because you've kind of turned it into a whole beautiful journey up the hill. I particularly like the idea of coming underneath the steel structure for the pool. You feel like you're kind of going through a gate or some entry point.
That's right. There's a lot to look at.
There is a lot to look at. It does feel like you've offered a rich visual experience as you come up here.
Yeah.
Let's go up.
Yeah.
Let's finish this
Yes.
climb. It's like a story in a number of chapters, and each landing is the end of that chapter.
So here we are, at the top of the climb.
The payoff. Yes. I'm loving the fact that this is where the shipping container kind of does a whole flip and goes from big metal box to swimming pool. What a win that is. I'm really enjoying that water just twinkling away there at the edge of the deck, framing the palm trees, and all of that, of course, giving you this kind of layers to this extraordinary view.
It's perfect, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And then pushing out that little bit further as well as giving us the opportunity to go from just ocean views, which are stunning.
They are.
But also the entire Glasshouse Mountains, which is just amazing.
Yeah, and it's worked out perfectly. The same level, everything's as we wanted it in the way of living space, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one big living space.
When you tear yourself away from the view, there's plenty to see inside. The house is brimming with treasures from Nat and Stu's global adventures.
And this is the heart of your whole story, really, is because all of this stuff is your stuff that you've had in shipping containers that you can finally get out and make into, you know, like the home that you've dreamed of, I suppose.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's like these little happy surprises of, oh yeah, I've got the golden stools, and oh yeah, that was from when I left that job, and you know, so it's the memories, isn't it?
Yeah.
To bring them all into that one place again.
Yeah.
And parts of the home were designed dimensionally to fit those pieces as well.
The sentiment of that is really, really lovely. And it does then feel like it's genuinely not just a home, but it is definitively your home.
Yeah, that's right.
That's no mean feat, because this entire project was on a promise to the past. And it does live on in many varied and subtle ways. The original red bricks on the kids' bedroom walls, the recycled pine cladding for Nat and Stu's headboard, and the defining feature, the brass strip where the old meets the new.
If I got the vacuum out, I do feel like I'm vacuuming like the new part and then the old part. It does. It does feel like a transition.
Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that you've taken, again, a potential problem, something that you were clearly worried about. You were like, how do we find the respect? How do we mark the occasion, if you like? And you've done it. And it's not just a talking point. It's actually something that's delightful every single day.
There's no doubt melding the old with the new was not the easy option. But like the house, Nat and Stu have come a long way. And that's something they've been determined to celebrate.
This has been a bit of a journey for you both, but what a success. I can see that this is like the family home you've been sort of waiting to build, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, it feels
memories.
like that.
Yeah.
We've been pretty nomadic for a long period of time, so it feels... It's a real relief to kind of unpack fully, I guess.
Yeah.
And to unpack in a home that you've designed and built is like the ultimate unpacking, I guess.
Yeah. Let's just hit the budget for a second. I'm looking at you, Stu.
Yep.
1.5 is about where we started.
Yeah.
Last time I was here, you were saying you were creeping towards 1.6.
Yeah.
How did we land?
At the moment, I think we're going to be maybe 10, 15K under the 1.6, which is great. So an under budget performance.
I just want to hear those golden words one more time.
Under budget
Oh,
performance.
that is like music to my ears.
Yeah.
Nat, you designed it. You had all the pressure on your shoulders to not only come up with the concept, but to deliver on that promise. Do you feel like you kept the spirit in the house?
Yeah, it feels just as warm and as happy and as homely.
But I know you were really stressed through some periods of the build.
See, I just blank it out. We first stood up on this deck saying, yeah, we're gonna get it and we'll do whatever it takes to build. And sometimes that's a bit naive, but at the same time, we knew there was definite challenges involved. And we conquered it, so I think, and that's part of the fun.
This started off as a sketch on a piece of paper, and now it's a home for our family. Yeah. But, you know, for me, there's always been that acid test of getting Brian and Karis round. That's the knot in my tummy still, just like, do they get it and did we nail it? I'd love them to love it as much as we do.
Yeah.
Well, no time like the present. With housewarming drinks in full swing,
What?
look who's coming up the driveway.
Wow.
There certainly have been some changes.
Yes. Oh, gosh. That's a shipping container.
Well, it certainly looks like one. Is it?
What on earth is doing up there? Making a statement or... Oh, my word. Are you ready?
No.
Wow. Natalie! Wow!
How you going? Hey there, Brian.
Really
nice
good
to see you.
Very good to see you.
We were wondering what
Things
it
you've
is.
retained.
This is how you've done the pool.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it looked like a container, but now I see it's a swimming pool. It's
Yes, it's crazy, right?
We were wondering how you were going to do that, but...
And the trees and everything you've kept down there.
Yeah,
the
I've kept
bricks.
as much as I could.
Around the house, your little things that we've
See
kept
how many
for
you
you.
can pick out as you walk around.
Okay.
Okay.
I love, this shoe. And as we came in, it was a bit like coming into Zanzibar. So was this the deck?
This was the
And
front door.
the front.
Yes.
Front door and the bay windows.
Bay window, yes.
Oh, gosh, well done. That's
Very
lovely.
clever.
There's the dog. Clive made that. We had it on the
Kidding.
steps. Wow, fancy keeping that. Oh, gollies, that's wonderful. Look at the brick walls.
Yes.
Fabulous.
It's all been kind of incorporated.
And the
Done a
stone.
fantastic job on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, so happy. So
Oh, good.
And,
Very
wow,
nice.
there, no, you should win an award. Honestly.
Totally impressed by what you've done.
Thank you.
Good.
So it's just wonderful. You've done a wonderful, amazing job.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm relieved.
No, it's
I'm relieved.
beautiful.
It's been my anxiety point.
Oh, really?
You passed a beautiful home onto us, so I wanted to make sure that we built on that rather than took away from it. So.
Wonderful.
You have, in a spectacular way.
It's the best possible outcome. A glowing seal of approval from the past for a home that looks forward to a bright future.
This has surprised me. I was always worried that it was, well, a bit of a lost soul. so much of the original went, but it's considerately been woven back together, injecting into the new house much of the original spirit of the place, but adding a new zest and heart as well. Nat was always the biggest believer, and yes, it was a very brave move to put a shipping container out here. But now it's the start of the next chapter in the life of this house, and it's ready for the next generation of family memories.
How I love about my house.
That's lovely. Wonderful.